pretty funny how we allow our interpretations of other people's achievements and good fortunes to impact the way that we see our own lives. We all know that judging our lives based off somebody else's social media is not only an inaccurate comparison, but people often choose to only show the highlights of their life. So what you're doing is you're comparing yourself to a highlight reel or possibly fabricated fairy tale, which isn't really going to end well anyway. I think comparing yourself though goes a lot deeper than understanding how fabricated social media is. It's about the realization that no matter what somebody else may achieve in life, fame, fortune, success, nothing, I repeat, nothing is being taken away from the life that you are living right now. But you know the feeling that I'm talking about, right? Say your friend gets back from their travels and they're so excited to tell you about everything that they did. Maybe they had an amazing internship. Maybe they met the love of their life. Maybe they got to perform at Madison Square Garden. You feel excited for them. That's definitely not a lie. But part of you starts to question yourself and feel a lot lesser about the achievements that you've done and the impact that you've had on the world. Nothing's changed. You're still the exact same person as you were before you heard anything about them, but for some reason you now feel lesser. For many years I danced. I loved the way that dancing made my body feel. I loved the rush of getting ready for a performance or showcase. I loved the way that my soul would feel it would light up when I'd get to go on stage. I developed a very bad habit where I would stare at every part of my body and compare it to the other girls in the class. I was bigger than most of the girls in my class. I was born with wider shoulders, curvier hips, and not to mention, I developed a lot faster than other girls my age. And the girls in my class had what was known at the time as dancer bodies. It was also a time where people would measure box gaps. Gap in between the middle of your legs when they're touching. Yeah, and I didn't really have much of a gap. It's crazy to think about that instead of working on learning the choreography and feeling the amazing rush of my body dancing synchronized with other dancers, I used that time to become my worst bully. My body was so strong and healthy and could carry me through really long, hard days, but still I was so cruel towards it and would constantly beat myself up about the way that I looked. So much to the point that I began to not like going to dance class at all, and I stopped. And by the time I reached high school, my sense of self and body confidence was at an all-time low. In high school, and I'm not sure if this was just because I went to an all-girls school or if this happens at most high schools, but it was more socially acceptable to beat yourself up than express anything that you liked about yourself. Because I already had such a skewed way on the way that I looked, I didn't find insulting myself out loud a very hard thing to do. And it became almost a competition between me and my best friend at the time.
Hello and welcome back to Who is the Best at Insulting Themselves? Australia. We've had a very, very close game tonight. As you can see, we have two best friends who both claim to have the best insults to say to themselves. Let's hear it for the two best friends. We are seconds away from hearing what the judges have to say at who they think is the best insulter. Drum roll please, everybody. Sorry, just 1 second. That doesn't seem right. Are you sure? Are you really sure? Okay. Alright. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, yet another tie. Nobody wins, everybody loses. Everybody gets to go home tonight with a whole bunch more insecurities than you came in with. Not to mention a bunch more mean phrases that you can tell yourself every day. Thanks for playing.
Competition that everybody loses and everybody ends up feeling really crappy afterwards. I was really, really lucky in high school. I had the best group of best friends you could ask for, and 6 years later they still are my best friends. And shout out to all of you, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But I found I would even compare myself to them, and in my head it became a list of categories. Who has the best skin, who's the smartest at school, who has the best hair, who has the best body. This complete superficial, materialistic list of things that didn't matter at all mattered so much in my head. And when I'd come up with a new label or category and somebody else won, my sense of self and confidence would just deplete more and more. It even worked when other people pointed out their envy towards my friends. And so say somebody would be like, I seriously cannot stand your friend. Like, she's honestly like the prettiest girl ever. And like, she's so smart and so good at English and writing. It's just insane. I hate her. Like, I seriously hate her. Yeah, me too. Yeah, no, she's so pretty. Like, I began to feel resentful of the people that I envied, the people who won at the categories that I'd made up in my head, people who were really kind to me, people who were my best friends, until one day I had this amazing realization that these categories were not just completely superficial and fake, but completely subjective. I actually wrote down the list of the categories that I thought that other people won at. And I realized there was one list of categories that I hadn't actually come up with, the categories that made up who I was as a person. And not just that, but the things that I knew that I loved about myself started slowly. I began to write things like, my hair sometimes looks okay. But as I got more into it, I filled the page with honest thoughts about myself. I remember writing things like, I love that I can sing, I can play guitar, I give good advice to my friends, I'm a good speaker. And once I took a look down at this list, I realized everybody in the world has a list of categories that make up the good parts of them, just like mine. And my list does not affect anybody else's list, just like their list makes no difference to my list. It was honestly like a breakthrough moment in teenage Valerie's brain, one that actually allowed me to be very honestly happy for my friends' good fortunes in life. I'm truly happy for everything that you've accomplished in your life, and seeing you do so well just makes me feel so good. It's kind of like when you're in school and say you're in maths class and the teacher gives back your marks, and the teacher would always say don't compare marks with each other because everybody's mark is their own. There's no point in comparing yourself to what other people are getting, because everybody is at different levels, everybody is on different paths, and everybody is good at different things. After having this realization, I started to be able to put myself forward for things that I hadn't before, things that I knew that people were going to be judging and comparing me to other people. I guess when you develop a good sense of self, you're quite happy about what you're presenting to the outside world. So you feel much more confident to showcase what you have to offer. I got back into dance class, I started drama lessons, I auditioned for X Factor, and I'm certainly not saying that everything was perfect, but for the first time in my life, I was finally treating myself like a friend that I actually liked. And that was a really big thing for me. Since high school, I've come so much further with this idea. I've done so much inner work and read a lot of self-help books. My favorite being You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. I will link that below. Louise has lots of beautiful messages. I think many would agree that her main one is to teach people how to truly love themselves. And after doing a lot of the exercises that she has in her book and a lot of other internal work, I've been able to put myself forward for even more. I've done the Rose of Tralee, I've done lots of cafe gigs, I had a bar gig, and I've even done lots of modeling shoots too. And for somebody who had pretty bad body confidence, putting yourself out there in front of a camera and modeling and posing is a pretty big success in my books. Of course, I still have to remind myself of the lesson that I learned a very long time ago. This is a whole other component of comparing yourself that I didn't write down for the video, but I feel I need to say, because this came up for me recently. Just because friends hang out without you does not take away the friendships that you individually have with these people. I still have my days where I catch myself scrolling down an Instagram model's profile and thinking that this girl is so beautiful and why can't I look like this? And then I just have to catch myself and say, hey, stop comparing yourself. Yeah, maybe this girl's got a great life. She's super attractive. She's got the best body. She's got very cute dog. Does that mean I'm not? Does that mean I don't have a great life? Does that mean I'm not super attractive and well liked and adored? And does that mean my dog's not super cute? Where's the bear? Good girl. No, it doesn't. That just means that me and this person that I'm choosing to compare myself to have our own list of categories that make up the people that we are. When these feelings do come up, it's a much more productive headspace to allow yourself to think about what it is that that person has that you might desire. Maybe there's something that you really like about them that you wish that you could somehow integrate more into your life. Rather than putting yourself down, think about what you could add to your list. It all comes back to loving ourselves and having complete acceptance and approval of the people that we are. So much to the point that we can dance with other people's success and truly feel so happy for them. There's only one version of you in this reality, and I think that's pretty cool.